So I feel like most of us would agree that the 2025 AFL season has, for the most part, been really, really good. Again, don't get me wrong, there have been some weeks where you've had a bad game or two, but nothing too crazy, right? I think we can all kind of agree that the 2025 season has been pretty good up until now, with, of course, round 13 just passing and a really, really disappointing round of footy that was extremely low scoring. And it wasn't low scoring because of elite defenses or anything like that. It was one of the first weeks, I think, that we've really just had piss poor weather, like for a lot of the games. Again, the Saturday games were really bad. Richmond versus Sydney, as a massive Richmond fan, I went to that game and it was obviously not that good. It was probably the most boring game I've legitimately ever seen. Again, Geelong versus Gold Coast followed up on that, and it was absolutely, I think, pissing down for most of the game, and that was a bad display. Again, I didn't really watch GWS versus Port, but I heard mixed reception on that one. And then, of course, you had Melbourne versus Collingwood, which I think was probably the most controversial game of the week. I mean, there's a lot of people online who will, talk a lot of shit about the pies and the umpires and all that type of stuff. And usually you try and stay out of it, but goddamn, there was some weak ass calls against Melbourne in that game, which I'm not exactly too sure if I was happy about, but it overall just kind of summarizes a really crappy week of football. But again, we're moving on now. We've got round 14 and we have 4 teams that, of course, have a bye this week. Again, hopefully a redemption week. I'm pretty sure the weather is supposed to kind of still be crappy this week, so we'll legitimately see how this, of course, does carry out. But the first game, in my opinion, should actually be a pretty good one. I feel like these Marvel rival teams usually have good games, and that does happen to be St Kilda versus the Western Bulldogs on Thursday night. I mean, the Bulldogs are, quite frankly, having a really weird season. It's been full of ups and downs. I feel like at the start of the year, they were actually playing really good with a lot of the injuries they had, but, Darcy ended up getting hurt. They got a lot of players back, but they're just kind of in weird form at the moment. Again, they're 9th on the ladder, while only one win behind them does actually happen to be the St Kilda Football Club, who, again, their fans are very, very confident that this team is going to rebuild quite well, and I think they actually, will. Again, they had a previous good week against Melbourne at TO Stadium, where they actually won by 28 points, so that was definitely a good win. They've had some really good wins randomly throughout this year, so when you got a lot of people who are thinking this is probably going to be a one-sided game of the Dogs just beating the Saints, I don't necessarily know if that's true. Again, I'm going to be tipping the Dogs, though, just because I feel like there is so much on the line legitimately for the Dogs in this game. But in saying that, there is no reason why St Kilda couldn't win this one as well. And again, they're coming off a good break, so I think there is a chance that they might be pretty competitive in this one. Again, on the Friday night, we've got a Tasmania game, Hawthorn versus Adelaide. Again, the Hawks are trying to get their season back on track, actually having a really good, convincing win against the Dogs. Again, Adelaide legitimately look like one of the best teams in it right now, sitting 3rd, and definitely surprised me. Like, I know a lot of people had Adelaide on a massive come-up this year, and I kind of thought there was a chance that was going to happen, but I didn't think they were going to be as good as what they legitimately have been. So this should be a really good game. I mean, you've got 3rd versus 6th, but you've got a team in Hawthorn who I think are still regarded as a top 4 team, whether they're in it or not. And this is at their home ground-ish, pretty much, in Tasmania. I mean, I feel like a lot of people are going to be tipping Adelaide here, so I might as well go a little bit different. And I might go Hawthorn. I mean, I think they do have a lot of missing things in their team right now, but they're slowly getting guys back. And I mean, it's at Tasmania, which they've usually had a pretty good run at. So I'm going to tip them. Again, we got Brisbane versus the GWS Giants on Saturday. I really don't know what happened to the Giants this year. I mean, they're a shade of their former self. Again, this is at Brisbane as well. Like, watching the Giants and when they played against Richmond, I thought they actually played really bad and thought the Tigers probably should have beaten them that game. Didn't watch the Port game, but I've also heard they were no good in that, and obviously lost to a team who are currently 15th. So, I mean, they're not playing great footy. They're not in form. I mean, Brisbane aren't in the form they probably really want to be. But at the end of the day, they're still second on the ladder. So even though a lot of people are criticising them, they're still second on the ladder and doing really well. I mean, I'm going to tip Brisbane here. I just don't know where GWS are at, and I'm going to need a little bit more time to, I think, rate them, because I don't know what's going on there. Again, Essendon versus Geelong. This should be a really good game. At the MCG, Essendon have a ton of injuries, and oddly enough, though, with all the negatives that have come out of all their injuries, they've actually had a lot of positives, because we're starting to see a lot of really good younger players who probably wouldn't have played without these injuries, who I think are shocking a lot of people. Like that Angus Clark, I think his name is like randomly really good in his first couple games. I've very much liked what I've seen from him. So there's still a lot of promise out of Essendon. I mean, I think it could be a good game, but Geelong at the end of the day are going to be the way more mature outfit with a near fully healthy team again. I'm not too sure at the time making this video if Baz gets up and, of course, plays, Bailey Smith. Touch wood for him, he does. And for the Supercoach players out there who, of course, have him. But yeah, I think Geelong they should get the win. It probably will get it done comfortably, but I still hope it's a good game, and I think it could be. Again, North Melbourne versus Fremantle at Optus Stadium. And this one is a North Melbourne home game. I mean, yeah, really random. No one really knows why North sold their games to do this. It's a strange one, knowing that North Melbourne's home ground for a couple of weeks is in, of course, Perth. Again, I mean, they're playing Fremantle. Technically, yes, this is still Fremantle's home ground. Fremantle are in the 8, which is to the shock of many, because they haven't been actually that good this year to the blind eye, but they are in the 8. I mean, North, they're a bottom team. They should get the dub here pretty comfortably. But honestly, if North win here, I think that's like 3 wins out of their last 6 or 7 or something, which would have to be a record for North and their standard as of late. So that could be an interesting one to see. Again, Port Adelaide versus Melbourne. I mean, Melbourne actually played an incredible game against Collingwood. Port, to me, still aren't having that good of a year. I mean, you got 2 of the bottom teams in the league. Like, you got 15th versus 14th here. Neither have their first round picks, which is really interesting. So I don't think either of these teams are going to want to lose. Like, it legitimately doesn't benefit either of these teams if they lose. So, I mean, I'm going to go Melbourne just based off recent form. I think they've actually been really good in a lot of their games as of late. I mean, they dropped the one to St Kilda, but other than that, I think they've been all right. I mean, if Port win here, it will be interesting. If Port win here, technically they actually have a chance to jump up to like 11th, because there are like 5 teams on 5 wins, which is so random. So, I mean, they will want to get this win. I think their season is still done, and I would say the top 11 teams are probably the only ones I think can make finals from here, and that's probably being generous. It's probably more so top 10. I don't think Carlton can really make finals, if I'm being honest. And that's kind of crazy to think that Essendon are still a little sniffed there, but yeah, it's a battle of the top 9 right now, really, if you do think about it all. But I mean, yeah, I'm going to tip Melbourne here, even though I think that might be a little bit of a unpopular one there. Again, West Coast versus Carlton at Optus Stadium. West Coast have definitely picked it up in the last like 4 or 5 weeks. They got their first win on the board. Carlton, I mean, they were able to get the win against Essendon. They were able to get the win against the bye, which some people probably didn't think they were going to get. They lost to the Giants, lost to the Swans, beat the Saints. It's been a weird like 5 weeks. I mean, Carlton are just in an overall really weird spot. But I mean, technically they're still a much better team than West Coast here, so they probably should go to Perth and beat them quite comfortably. So we'll have to definitely wait and see. But I mean, West Coast are going to be coming out for revenge, because I think they've had a lot of games now where they've just lost by little amounts. I think it was Essendon They only just lost to, they only just lost to North. I think there was another team. It was Richmond as well. They only just lost. So they're definitely smelling blood from a lot of the teams here. And I think they're going to assume they're a sniff against Carlton. So we'll have to wait and see how this goes. Again, I'd very much like to hear all of your thoughts and opinions on this in the comments section down below. Who do you guys have as your tips and predictions for this week? Do you guys agree with mine or do you disagree? Again, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for all the latest AFL content news. My gaming channel, which will be getting linked in the description down below as well. And I guess I'll be seeing you guys next time. Goodbye.